Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Daily Manchester United. Happy Friday, you made it, and we get another podcast for your ears and eyes, for your viewing pleasure. My name is Kieran McGidley. I'm delighted to say today on today's episode I'm joined by Cormac Dooley. Hello Cormac.
How's it going? Doing well.
And also joined by Sam Brady. Hello Sam.
Hello.
I know, three people on a Man United podcast. What is this madness? Anyway, we're coming off the back of Cormac's appearance on the Daily Tottenham Hotspur on the crossover episode. Sam, did you get a chance to listen to it by any chance? Cormac said some interesting things yesterday.
I haven't yet. I will do tonight, but I'm sure you're gonna give me an insight or.
I'll let you unwind then. But what I will say, Cormac, fantastic crossover debut. You did yourself proud up there. I agree with you fully on some of the statements you made, including one about one of our very own holding midfielders. But how was it out there in the crossover?
No, it was good. Yeah, I mean, Chris from the Daily Tottenham Hotspur podcast was great to talk to. It was a bit refreshing having someone, obviously Tottenham are in the same position as us, someone not really being able to rip on United as some of the other crossovers. But no, yeah, it was a good chat and brought up some interesting points. Even I think he was talking about there's a planned protest for at the stadium for Tottenham this weekend. So he was kind of asking questions about, how our getting new owners in went about and stuff like that and how it's panned out so far. And yeah, it was just kind of interesting chat and refreshing. And I think the consensus was it's going to be, a low-scoring game this weekend between the two of us. Didn't really seem that optimistic.
Yeah, though I have to question Chris there. He's predicted a 2-0 win to Tottenham.
Yeah.
Then Tottenham can't keep a clean sheet. United can't score. Maybe he got that half right. But obviously, behind the curtains, before we pressed record, we're all sort of on the same consensus about we're not particularly looking forward to this relegation six-pointer. As I said to the lads, and I'll say this to you now for your benefit, a win tomorrow, on Sunday, I should say, could get us as high as 11th place. A loss could drop us as low as 16th. Sam, that's pretty much a summation of our season, isn't it?
I mean, pretty much, yeah. I mean, as you said, us and Spurs are pretty much in similar positions at the minute, and our seasons have been going pretty much identical the same way. And I mean, look, yeah, as we've said off air, we're not expecting a high score and exciting game, but as I've said, you never know what you're going to get with United. And yeah, I mean, if we do drop down to 16th, it's sort of what we've been deserving this season. So yeah, it's not fun viewing to be a United fan if you're looking at the table, to be honest.
Not fun viewing to be a Spurs fan either. Heart bleeds for both sides. This is going to be, again, I think Chris said it best on the crossover, a point for each side isn't good enough. A draw's not good enough. Cormac, you predicted, I believe it was a 1-1 draw, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If I remember rightly. Mm-hmm. You've slept on it. Still feel the same?
No, yeah, I do. I think obviously United, we've had trouble scoring recently. Last game, we had to take an offside goal to win it. And then I think Spurs as well, they have, I didn't actually realise how many injuries they have. They have kind of like similar to us last season. They have a lot of injuries and getting like new players like Tell in, although he scored a good goal. I feel like just they won't really be able to score that much either, and I don't think we will. So I can see maybe a goal for each team and draw.
Yeah, although it's Valentine's Day, there's no love lust because on this podcast, not at least right now. Sam, what has to change coming? I mean, this seems like a topic that comes up time and time again. And when we get later into the podcast, we'll talk about predicted 11s and predicted scorelines. But, what has to change from the Leicester game?
Yeah, I just think we need to create more chances going forward, especially against a Spurs side who they're stripped of defenders right now and they can't keep a clean sheet to save their life. I mean, I watched their game midweek against Liverpool. I think it was maybe last week in the EFL Cup, and they looked shocking. And then obviously they lost to Villa in the FA Cup as well and conceded 2 there as well. And I mean, I think we say it most weeks with United and oppositions we come up against where we want to see them. We want to see United go for it, and especially when we're at home at Old Trafford, we especially expect them to go for it. But I think if there's any team away from home that we can really create chances against, it's Spurs. And and obviously we're not great at defending and keeping goals out of our own net, but I think I just want to see us create more chances, especially as you said against Leicester. And as Cormac said, it was a sort of last minute goal from Maguire that sort of kept us in the FA Cup. But I sort of want to see us create more chances and really attack the Spurs defence. And as I said, they're stripped for defenders. So why not go for it? You know what I mean? So yeah, hopefully we can do that and just keep goals out of our net as well. So.
Yeah, we'll see if Cobby starts on top because that's been a real contentious issue. But yeah, you're right. Having a look at the table, in the bottom half of the table, Tottenham are the only team with a positive goal difference if you discount Brentford with their fantastic 0. They've got plus 11, so they've scored 48, conceded 37 in the Premier League. United have conceded 3 fewer, but scored 20 fewer. I mean, that's remarkable. 28 goals throughout this season. I mean, it's one of the lowest out there. It's 3 goals fewer for Everton, but they're a team well in form. They could overtake us on Sunday, or at least over the weekend. I mean, it's 3 goals more than Leicester, who are battling for relegation, Cormac. The warning signs are there, and yet we signed a wing back and a centre back.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously would have loved to seen an attacker come in, but I mean, how much have we spent recently on attackers? We bought Xerxes in the summer. We're spending big money on Mason Mount. Rasmus Højlund, 70 mil for him. We're putting out money for these supposed to be attackers coming in, making an impact. And I mean, yeah, really, it's just shocking. You look at the other clubs down the table, they have, players worth much less than us and they're scoring more goals. So I don't really know where it's going wrong. As I said before, I'd like to see maybe a bit of adaptability. We're not scoring in Amorim's 5-back. Why not just switch it up and get another attacker, another midfielder up there and try score goals? Because that's the biggest problem we have right now is scoring goals. It's just like we can't keep relying on individuals like Ahmad to pull us out of games. I don't know what the issue is, but goals are definitely the priority right now.
I mean, Sam, were you surprised to get to the end of the January window and not even a sniff of a striker?
Yeah, I also knew that we probably weren't going to go gung-ho in the window as well, because I know Radcliffe's come out and said that we're maybe strapped for cash at the minute as well, so maybe he's sort of holding out to the summer. And I also think in sort of recent starting lineups, we've seen Amorim sort of experiment, obviously with Mainu at striker, and he's obviously not satisfied with Højlund and Xerxes' performance recently and in the season. So I do think he's sort of flip-flopping between what options we have up there, and obviously it didn't work with Cobby up there, and then he brought on Xerxes in the FA Cup and he bagged a goal, so maybe he gets a start. But yeah, I was a bit surprised that there wasn't even a rumoured of an attacker coming in. But obviously we brought in Dorgu as well, who's an attacking fullback who can give us an option on the wings. So yeah, maybe he gets another start on the weekend. So yeah, it's a bit surprising and it is a bit of a concern. But Amorim's sort of working with limited resources at the minute, so we'll see sort of what the plan of attack is on Sunday.
Absolutely. And when we come back after this short break, maybe a bit of a discussion about the enigma that is Bruno Fernandes and where on the pitch we play him. More of that after this.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
I'm just having a look at some stats and whatnot. As I mentioned, Bruno Fernandes, according to theanalyst.com, expected goals this season for him, 7.83, which is the highest in the side. Total shots, Bruno Fernandes on 64. Expected assists, 4.51. I mean, you can see a pattern emerging here. I want to start with you, Sam, on this part too. Bruno Fernandes, he's been played sort of as one of the attacking midfielders. He's also been playing deep in most recent games. Where do you feel is best to play him? Because at the moment, I think Amorim's trying to experiment whether it's worth playing him as one of the more advanced players or to have him sitting deeper and helping out almost like an anchor in the heart of midfield.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt Bruno has to be in the starting 11 somehow, and it's just where he fits into that system. Amorim, as you mentioned, started him off the left when he first came in as a further forward attacker. Now he's dropped him deep into the two central midfield roles. And I sort of do prefer him in that deeper sort of playmaker role in the two central midfield roles, but I just think he needs someone next to him who's going to do more of the defensive work and going to help him out. I mean, we saw against Leicester, our midfield was being torn apart every time the ball went through the midfield. Leicester players had time to turn and play the balls forward. So he definitely needs someone next to him. Whether Ugarte is the answer, it's probably too soon to say. Kobbie Mainoo, potentially, but again, I don't know if Kobbie is defensively sound enough to also play that position. And then obviously Amorim in the past couple of games has been playing Kobbie off the left and down the middle. So he's definitely experimenting with sort of varied options in the middle. But obviously Bruno is a key part of everything that we do. So he has to play a part somewhere in that system. And whether you play him further forward, off the left or deeper is something that Amorim needs to think about. But the only problem I have is if you do play him further forward, off the left or off the right, then obviously where does that leave Garnacho? Where does that leave Ahmad? So that's why I do think further back in the pitch in the central midfield roles are suited. It's just who plays next to him effectively.
Cormac, agree or disagree?
Yeah, no, I agree. To be fair, maybe a month or two ago, I wanted more attacking, but I think Sam made a good point. I think you'd rather have him back there, considering what we have going forward versus who we have in the midfield right now. But yeah, I think Bruno is kind of another example of a player where the system's kind of hurt him a bit. I think Bruno in the past was really effective, kind of in like that 4-3-3, where two holders are behind him doing the dirty work, and Bruno's ahead. Just dictating play. But yeah, I think the deeper role suits him well. As I said, he's probably one of our more talented players, so you want him on the ball as much as you can. And yeah, I feel like just in the system, playing further forward, it's kind of, is it a 10 or is it a winger up there and the two behind the striker? I feel like it just doesn't really suit Bruno as much there. So yeah, definitely like to see him playing deeper. And as Sam said, you need someone beside him who can do that dirty work, and we'll see if Ugarte is the answer. I like the tenacity behind Ugarte. Just questioning, really, does he have the legs and the speed kind of at times to cover that extra ground Bruno might be leaving?
I mean, the thing as well is that in the Premier League, Bruno's got 5 goals this season. There's only one fewer than our top goal scorer, Amad Diallo, on 6. Yeah, I know. But the point is, do you lose anything by playing Fernandes deeper? I mean, he likes to play those long passes. We've seen those, I think, consistently more happening this season. He's trying to ping the ball over to the wings or ping the ball, that diagonal ball to try and find either Garnacho on the left, Ahmad on the right, or just try and bring into play like Xerxes or Højlund up at that point. So do you lose anything by dropping him deeper, I wonder? I don't know. It's hard to say. What isn't hard to say is how much of a loss Licha is going to be out of this side. Cormac, you touched on this yesterday. He has been in such great form. I mean, he was at one point one of our last goal scorers at all times before Maguire came along and scoring an offside goal. But, we don't worry about that. Just how much of a miss is he going to be for United?
Yeah, no, it's going to be a huge miss. I think he kind of sets the example of players wanting to play with passion, tenacity for this club. And yeah, even he might have had a bit of a rust there under Amorim, but recently I thought he was, one of our better players easily. And kind of with stepping through the two wide centre-backs, he was doing that brilliantly. Scored 2 goals against Liverpool and then saved us against Fulham as well. So yeah, no, he's going to be a huge loss. You feel sorry for him. He had injury trouble in the past, and yeah, no, he's really just starting to come into form. He's going to be a huge loss, but I mean, luckily we did get 2 defenders. I know Heaven's young, but even Dorgu can kind of fill in maybe that left side as well. But yeah, no, just a devastating loss. He's coming into himself, old self again, and yeah, it's just not what we need at this point in the season at all.
Yeah, I have a feeling Mazraoui might come in to cover that right-hand centre-back side, with perhaps Dalot taking that right wing and Dorgu taking the left wing back roles. Sam, obviously, thoughts on Martinez? I mean, in my opinion, it feels like we've lost a bit of a leader on the pitch. He was really in a really hot streak of form.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Cormac's just said, to be honest. I think, yeah, he was one of our better centre-backs up until he's just got injured. And obviously he had that injury last season as well. So I just hope it's not a re sort of continuing issue with Martinez now. And I mean, it might be a time for Lenny Yoro to it's a big opportunity for him to sort of have his place in the squad and maybe prove something to Amorim that he deserves to cement that spot. Obviously he's only young, so we'll see how he gets on. Maguire's been playing very well this season as well, so he's sort of also got to step up now and hold his own in there. But I also think, you said before about going in for an attacker maybe in January. I definitely think centre back now should be a position we look into in the summer, because we've not been great keeping clean sheets this season, and with Leacher being out until the end of the season, and whether that's going to be a continuous issue of him getting injured, and then Yoro's only young, so whether we can rely on him. And I've said it this season. Obviously, Maguire has been a key player for Under Amorim, and he has picked up form, but I still question whether he's good enough for where we want to get to as a club, where we want to be challenging for trophies. So I definitely think it's a concern and a sort of dilemma that Amorim and the club are going to have to look into come the end of the season.
Yeah, sort of United, after that Palace game, confirmed that it was a cruciate ligament. We believe it's an MCL rather than an ACL. So, take the good news where you can get from it. But normally an MCL, you're normally out for maybe 3 to 6 months, which, counting on that, is going to be very close to the start of next season if we can recover him and get him back there. And I think, to be honest with you, we're going to need him for the start of next season. I don't even know what league we're going to be in next season, but somehow we've got to cobble this all together and try and find a bit of maybe a combined 11, more like a predicted 11. It's a little less hostile than a combined 11. But we'll talk about that after this.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
The Global Sports Podcast Network is changing the face of football podcasts, with dedicated daily content for every Premier League team, women's football, fantasy football, and a daily Premier League wrap-up broadcast in 5 different languages. It's your one-stop shop for your daily football fix. So find GSPN wherever you find your usual podcasts.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
It's not quite as hostile as a combined 11, but I reckon there are some discussions to be had. Yes, it's our predicted 11 and then followed by our predicted scoreline. So, gentlemen, let's start in goal. I think this is probably going to be one of the more straightforward decisions out there, although maybe you could spring up a surprise. Sam, I'll start with you. Who are you expecting in goal?
I mean, yeah, it'll be Onana. I mean, even though actually I expected maybe Bayern to come in against Leicester in the FA Cup, which he didn't, so I was surprised by that. But we're back in the league now, so it'll be Onana, I'm assuming.
Cormac?
Yeah, no, it'll be Onana. He's been starting every Premier League game for us. I think, absolutely it will be Onana starting this weekend.
There you go, 3 for 3 then for Andre Onana then. Right, let's look at centre-backs then. Obviously, we've lost Martinez then for the foreseeable. Obviously, no Johnny Evans. He's out with a muscle injury. And, well, we know about Luke Shaw. He's also out injured. So with that in mind then, Sam, I'll come to you. Who are you expecting at the back 3?
Yeah, I actually think it'll be the exact same back three as started against Leicester. I think Mazraoui will, as we've seen this season, will drop into that centre back role, and then Lenny Yoro I expect to start as well alongside Harry Maguire. So I don't see much change against Spurs as well.
Cormac, no hope for Aiden Heaven debut?
No, I'd love to see it now, but no, I don't think against Spurs they'll do that to him. Yeah, no, I think Mazraoui would definitely be there. Yara as well, and it's tough because I would like to see De Ligt and Maguire play alongside each other, but I feel like they both are kind of just suited to the central role. So yeah, don't know. Maybe Maguire, he done well against Leicester, and to be fair, I think corners and set pieces we could do some damage against Spurs. So yeah, I'll say Maguire as well.
Yeah, I sort of think De Ligt might start this match. I think Yora might be on the bench, but Amorim will do the thing of substituting a centre back, though he hasn't been doing that very recently. I reckon right centre back is going to be Mazraoui, down the centre it's going to be Maguire, and possibly down the left would be De Ligt. Now, the only problem with that is De Ligt is right-footed, I believe, so that could pose a little bit of a problem. Then again, Lenny Yoro is also right-footed down the left-hand side, and if you're one of those specialists who want a left-footed centre back down the left, we've just lost him, unfortunately, but there we go. So we're already contrasting there. How about wing backs? Again, this should be relatively straightforward, I reckon, Cormac.
Yeah, well, I think the two will be Dorgu and Dalot. Just the question is what side they'll be on, because I was very surprised to see Dorgu playing right wing back against Leicester. I'm not really quite sure what that was all about. But yeah, no, I'd like to see him being left wing back and put Dalot over the right. But yeah, I think it'll be those two.
Sam?
Yeah, I share the similar thought, to be honest. I think it will be Dorgu and Dalot as well. And to be honest, it was an interesting one from Amorim against Leicester, as Cormac's alluded to. He played on the right, and then I thought he played quite well, and then he got subbed off at half time. So I don't know if that was Amorim just trying to bed him in, sort of getting used to getting minutes under his belt. But I actually hope to see him against Spurs on the left, Dorgu, and Dalot back to his usual right. But we'll see.
Yeah, I wonder if it was a case of he tried a little inverted wing back sort of thing, because obviously Dalot is right footed. I think Dorgu is left footed, so maybe tried that inverted wing back, see how that fared. But yeah, I think Dalot plays his better football down the right hand side, so it makes sense to play to your strengths. Dalot down the right, Dorgu down the left, and we'll see what happens there. Holding midfielders then, two choices. I think I can guess one of them, but Cormac, give us your holding midfield.
Yeah, no, kind of what we were talking about earlier. I think Bruno put him there, and I think Ugarte put beside him. Not too many options that deep, but yeah, I think they'll be the two playing together.
Sam?
Yeah, see, I hope it'll be Mainu and Bruno, just because I think, as I alluded to before, I think we should try and go at Spurs and create chances, and I think Mainu and Bruno, they're our best options for creating chances and playing the balls through to the attackers. But I just don't see Amorim doing that. I think he might go, especially losing Leacher as well, I think he might be more conservative and as Cormac said, put Ugarte next to Bruno in the middle there.
Yeah, it would be nice to see sort of almost like a double playmaking role. You've got Maynard there who's so confident dribbling wise, and he's very good at dribbling through defences. But he is known to sort of give away silly fouls in the attacking half of the field and losing possession that way. But I feel like, yeah, he's probably going to be, if he is going to be played, he'll probably be played further up the pitch. Yeah, I kind of agree. Fernandes and Ugarte, that seems like that's probably going to be a little bit locked in there. Let's have a look at attacking midfielders then. I think first name on the team sheet is about to come up. Sam?
Yep, Ahmad. I think we should be all in agreement with that one.
I think so. And who's your other attacking mid?
Yeah, so I've got Ahmad on the right. I hope Garnacho starts on the left. And as I've said, if Mainu doesn't start in the midfield, potentially might play Mainu off the left. But as I've said, I hope we attack at Spurs. So I hope it's Garnacho on the left. And striker, I actually think it's time we give Zerchi give him another try. Obviously, he had a hard start to his United career, being subbed off against Newcastle. But I think since that Arsenal game in the FA Cup, he's proved that he can bounce back, and he's shown potential. And obviously, coming off the bench and scoring against Leicester, I think he's proved something to Amorim to maybe say, you know what, give me a chance. So I hope he does get a chance against Spurs. So yeah, that Ahmad, Zerchi and Garnacho, I feel like that's a real threat going forward, to be honest.
Sam's living off of hope. What's Cormac feeling?
Yeah, well, I mean, Ahmad, 100%, he'll be definitely in there, or definitely should be in there anyway. Best player by far this season. On the left, yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Menu, I thought looked really good there against Bucharest in the Europa League, was causing problems. And I've been a critic of Garnacho most of the season, to be fair, but I think since he's been dropped, I've been kind of impressed with how he's bounced back, and I thought he's looked a threat down that left wing side, even though he's not getting goals. But for the first goal against Leicester, it was his ball across into the box that caused problems. Eventually, found its way for Xerxes, and so yeah, I think it will be Garnacho, and then up top. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it doesn't really matter, but I mean, I suppose I would like to see it given to Xerxes based off he just scored the last game, and yeah, I feel like he could be used as a good link-up piece up top. But yeah, I feel like it doesn't really matter who's up there.
brutal from Cormac, but not far off the truth. Cormac, I think I'm gonna side with you. I think Ahmad obviously is 100% on the starting sheet. I kind of agree. I think Garnacho is going to get the nod for this game. I think he absolutely changed the game against Leicester. We started to be a lot more potent on the attack when he came onto the field, darting through and making some really killer balls in that final third. I think he will get given the nod. And then up top, now this is the difficult one. On one hand, I can see Xerxes getting the nod to start this game. On the other hand, I'm expecting Højlund to start. But as you've probably both alluded to, one or the other is probably not going to be the huge difference maker. I wouldn't be surprised if Xerxes gets the nod, but I'm expecting Højlund to start up top. So contrasting, a couple of stalwarts in there, Onana, Fernandes and Ahmad. The rest of the team, a little bit misshapen, maybe, perhaps. But that leads us onto this egg on your face moment of trying to predict how this game will end. Sam, I'm gonna leave those honours to you because we already know what Cormac's thinking, but what are you thinking ahead of the game?
Yeah, I always hate doing predictions, especially this season. You just literally never know. And I'm torn with this because on the one hand, I want to be optimistic because Spurs, as we've said throughout this episode, they've been as bad as us this year. But on the other hand, we just can't seem to keep a clean sheet as well. So I'm going to go optimistic, and I'm going to say I think we can win this. I'm going 2-1 United. I think if we create chances, which I do think we can do against that Spurs defence, and look, I don't think we're going to not concede, but I hope we can sort of create enough chances to sort of outscore Spurs. And I mean, we saw that mad game in the League Cup earlier this year. I don't think it'll be as crazy as that 4-3. But I'm going 2-1. I think we can actually, for once, pick up a win.
Oh, there we go. Hopefully those words don't come back to haunt you, Sam, come Monday. But there we go. Cormac, we sort of already know roughly what you're thinking about the game. Has our conversation changed anything, good or bad?
No, I think I'm going to stick to my 1-1 prediction. But no, some good points for me made. I mean, yeah, Spurs defensively have looked pretty bad, to be honest, recently, and same as United. So I think there could be a lot of goals, but that's what's making me think it will just be complete contrast to the last 2 games. I feel like it'll just be a bit more of a stalemate, and just like we're 13th and 14th now, I think there won't be much to separate us in the game.
Yeah, it's one of those results down at the bottom of the table where both teams need the 3 points, and it is imperative they get the 3 points, and that's exactly why they'll draw. I think it'll be 2-2 on the day. I think both defences might struggle, but I think both attacks are going to be there. I think Matthias Tell is going to be a dangerous player coming into this, and he's here to prove a point for Bayern Munich to break into the starting 11. So, of course, he wants to hit the ground running. A goal underneath him now. He's already catching up to Højlund and Xerxes in all goals this season. Oh, yikes. That's not good at all. But there we go. Here we are at the end of the podcast. Hopefully, we do get the 3 points on Sunday afternoon, and hopefully we'll be all smiling, all happy faces come Monday, and we'll have lots of good things to talk about. Hey, cross your fingers, I'm crossing mine. Thank you so much to Cormac and Sam for joining me on today's episode. And of course, make sure you do follow us on all our social medias. We are GSPN Man United on X or Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're even on TikTok, whilst it's still legal in the USA. But also, we're also on YouTube. It's Global Sports Podcast Network, LTD. Find our playlist and you can watch our episodes now. And don't forget, you've got podcasts like the Daily Women's podcast. So make sure you check that as well for all women's football-related news. But from us, enjoy your weekend. Hopefully it is a good one. And we'll talk to you soon on Monday with hopefully 3 more points in the bag. Take care.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.